Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Chemistry by ANR. Class 9 students, ये आपके लिए है about the discovery of subatomic particles. Do you know what are subatomic particles? That means atom के अंदर जो particles होते हैं, they are known as subatomic particles, right? Now, discovery of electron is obviously due to the experimentation by J. Thomson in the year 1897. So you should know who is J. Thomson. I have given you the picture to identify who is J. Thomson. Are you aware of the fact? If not, then get to know that he received the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1906 for his studies of electrical conductivity of gases, right? Now, this was the experiment conducted by J. Thomson, and this is known as Cathode Ray Discharge Tube Experiment, where you can see what was being done, that this was the cathode ray tube and he passed electricity. Here is the high voltage power supply. He passed electricity through a gas and he has preferably taken hydrogen at that moment, and he said that when he passed electricity through gases, okay, it was not a fixed gas. You can think of any gas at that moment, but there are certain conditions at very low pressure, and he used a glass tube with two electrodes and applied high voltage, okay. And when high voltage was applied, in between there are between two electrodes, one is the cathode and the other is the anode. Here we can see cathode, here is the anode. What did he observe? He observed that rays were moving from the cathode towards the anode. That means from the negative electrode towards the positive electrodes. And so he named these particles to be, or rather these rays to be, cathode rays. Later on, the properties of these cathode rays were studied. तो J. थॉमसन ने क्या किया? हाई वोल्टेज पावर सप्लाई यूज करके टू इलेक्ट्रोड्स के बीच में जो हाई वोल्टेज अप्लाई होता है, और इस ग्लास ट्यूब के अंदर क्या है, देर आर गैसेस अंडर inside this the glass tube, and when high voltage is being applied, then what happens? Some rays are seen to be projected towards the anode and it is coming from the cathode, and so they were known as cathode rays, moving from the cathode towards the anode, right? So this is what I have written here, I have given here. The rays produced, they are the cathode rays, and were deflected by both electric and magnetic field. It was seen, the study was seen, that cathode rays in electric and magnetic field get deflected. ठीक है? And it shows the behavior of negatively charged particles. That is, the experiment proves that cathode rays are made up of negatively charged particles, and these particles were named as electrons. So what is the key conclusion of this experiment? Electrons were discovered. Okay, the cathode rays were made up of particles which were known as electrons. They were negatively charged. So this is one, that electrons are negatively charged particles and they are present in all atoms, showing that atoms are divisible. Because you know from Dalton's atomic theory, it was said that atoms are indivisible. So here you can see कि नहीं, atom के अंदर electrons भी होते हैं. So now the importance is the discovery of electron is, it has marked the beginning of modern atomic physics. And this led to the model that was given by Thomson, which is the plum pudding model of the atom. And it paved the path to different atomic models, which we will discuss in the next video. Now, these were the properties of the cathode rays. The cathode rays were seen to travel in a straight line, of course, from cathode to anode, and they are made up of negatively charged particles which are known as electrons, and so they are deflected. Since they are having charge, they are deflected by electric and magnetic field, of course, towards the positive plate. Why? Because they themselves are negatively charged. They produce fluorescence when they strike certain materials such as zinc sulfide. जिंक सल्फाइड के ऊपर अगर स्ट्राइक करें तो it gets lighten up, that shows fluorescent properties. They cast sharp shadows when an opaque object is placed in their path, showing that they travel in a straight line. So this is an evidence that they travel in a straight line. Now they have the particle nature, and so they possess kinetic energy, and so they can rotate wheel if it is kept in their path, because they possess kinetic energy. They heat up, they produce heat. So they heat up the metal surface on which they strike. They can ionize the gas through which they pass. They produce X-rays when they strike a heavy metal target at high speed, and their properties are independent of the nature of the gas. That's why in the very beginning I said it does not depend on the nature of the gas. Any gas can be taken over there, provided you maintain high voltage power supply and it is attached to a vacuum pump. Now, discovery of proton, this is given to, the credit is given to Eugen Goldstein in the year 1886. Now this discovery came from this type of experiment in the discharge tube only, through the study of the canal rays, which were known as anode rays. Contrary to the cathode rays, these anode rays are projecting from the anode and heading towards the cathode. So these were also known as canal rays. Identification of the proton. Now the electron is negatively charged. Charge over an electron is 1.602 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb, and that is a negative charge. And charge over proton is the same magnitude, opposite in sign, that is positive charge. The relative charge is taken as +1 for proton, and for electron it is -1. Mass of the proton is 1.6726 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kg, and obviously it is present inside the nucleus of an atom, whereas charge of an electron is how much? Minus 1.602 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb, and mass of an electron is 9.1 into 10 to the power of minus 31 kg. This is the mass of an electron. So this is how electrons and protons were discovered. And you should know that there are some chargeless particles inside the nucleus, which is also known as neutrons. Now these neutrons and protons, they collectively form the nucleons. They form the nucleons. That is, they form the nucleus of an atom. These particles form the nucleus of an atom. So see you in this discussion. Till this only, we will be discussing lot more about atomic models in the next video. Till then, bye all of you.